because we have all seen this. The snitches, community spies, they do small things which could not hurt a fly unless the fly was having those things done 24/7, 365 days. It's the death of 1,000 paper cuts. This is what they need to understand. People are not unhinged, but daily unjust harassment can make them become so. That's the bigger picture that you maybe don't see. When a target is driving, standard practice is to surround his vehicle and attempt to control his speed. He will not be allowed in close proximity by the same vehicles for a long distance. They do frequent trade-offs. Vehicles line up behind the target for a short distance and then move out of place so the next vehicle can take over. Frequently, vehicles in the convoy will have their high beam headlights on during the day, so a target frequently has a vehicle behind him which has its headlights on. A box pattern. They do this when we are sitting down as well. They try to box us in. 'Cause you know, if we go crazy, they are there to help. Oh, here is your third hero cookie. Enjoy! Note, in the summer of 2004, I had a driver try to force me off the road. I called 911 while he was driving up to my bumper fast and then slamming on his brakes repeatedly, even though it was an empty 2-lane road and I was in the right-hand lane. While I was talking to the police, he drove up next to me and gave me the finger, then swerved dangerously towards my car several times before speeding off ahead of me too fast for me to get his license plate number. A couple of months later, I had a limo driver park out in front of my house who randomly gave me the finger as I crossed the street on foot. A couple of days after the limo driver incident, I had a teenager do the same thing as he passed by me on foot. See, gang stalking sideshow for another incident. Well, you know, guys, that my neighbor's teenage son did this to me while I was retrieving mail at my mailbox. In many parts of the country, it is common to see groups of 6 to 30 or more vehicles driving around in convoys with their high beams on during the day. This is one of the ways a convoy can be identified. Sometimes they will also drive in formation in a single column with vehicles spaced 1 car length apart. When they drive around at night, the brightness of their headlights can light up the sky. Group vehicles follow far in front of and behind the target in both directions to watch for marked police vehicles. A target knows a police vehicle is approaching when vehicles move away from him. Group members also travel on roads parallel to the road being traveled by the target in order to intercept his vehicle when he returns. This happened to me in Manalapan, New Jersey, folks. It is not uncommon for a target traveling alone to see group members hold tissue over their nose as if there was a bad smell. They may also wave or make some gesture to attract attention. Group members have feelings of inferiority, but when they are with their group, they are fearless, especially when they are in the safety of their vehicles. This can be especially dangerous for a target because they are connected by cell phone and they achieve group status by engaging in extreme behavior. Some groups reward a quote-unquote member of the week with a free night on the town and a limo ride. Oh, how exciting that seems, huh, folks? Nothing as empowering as being in a mindless cult. No hero cookie for you this time. Cutting off the target vehicle or waiting beside the road for him to pass and then pulling out in front of him are common. When this is done, other group members may attempt to be in position to prevent him from getting out of the way of the attacking vehicle. If there is an accident, the group member will have a dozen, quote-unquote, concerned citizens to testify to his version of what happened. Other vehicle-related tactics include a blockade so the target vehicle cannot leave the parking lot, for example, or he is surrounded by slow-moving vehicles. Standard practice is to watch the target's vehicles, and this subjects him to damage, including slashed tires, scratched paint, stolen license plates, etc. Typically, they would not cut the brake lines on vehicles or commit other similar acts of sabotage, but they would drain the oil or antifreeze over a period of time. If they're able to enter the vehicles, items may be removed and then returned, or items may be put in the vehicles. If they can enter the vehicles and the residence, they may take items from the residence and put them in the vehicle and vice versa. This happened to me in Manalapan, New Jersey, by the way. These are all tactics, and we know that they are aware that targets, they get the awareness of targets to do this, or the ones that are so happy to be part of the community policing cult that they don't care. Note, half of the oil was drained from my car when it hit 50,000 kms or 31,000 miles. And I was just 1 month out of warranty. That's what they do, guys. They stalk your warranty, and when your warranty expires, that's when they sabotage your equipment. The engine had to be rebuilt. The brakes were caked in so much rust that the repair shop asked if I had been sitting in water for a long time. But there was not a spot of rust on the body. Just before the harassment escalated, someone left flowers all over my lawn and top of my car and kept leaving pieces of garbage on my front lawn every night. The daily piece of garbage on the front lawn continued when I moved to a completely different city. If you look at the gang stalking slideshow, you will see that it is not a dirty neighborhood. This is a common tactic, folks. And they have a rusting technology to intentionally rust a brand new item. I don't know how they do it, but they have the technology to do so. On foot, a target will be followed on foot wherever he goes. Anyone can go to the same public places as he goes and will attempt to get into other restricted places he goes, including hospitals, places of employment, etc. It has been said that it is possible to go nearly anywhere if you have a clipboard in your hand, and it is almost true. They also like to wear name badges on a lanyard, and some carry phony police badges. This is standard foot patrol. Common harassment tactics used by those on foot. Pen clicking, in which they repeatedly click a ballpoint pen, key rattling, and rattling change in their pockets while standing behind the target. Many targets are many tactics are tried and the result is observed. Those which evoke a response from the target are repeated. When a target sits anywhere in public, group members will attempt to sit behind him in order to create noise by whatever means, including tapping their feet on the target's chair. The objective is to harass the target constantly. Sensitization tactics, which are used to make sure the target knows he's being watched, including picture taking and filming. Another sensitization technique is note taking. This is done when the target is stationary, for example, in a restaurant. The note taker appears to take a note each time the target makes a movement or says anything. They are happy note takers and unhappy note takers. Happy note takers find anything he says and does to be funny, while the unhappy note takers find everything he says to be wrong or inappropriate. Only certain members are allowed to establish contact with the target. Contact is not made without backup to act as witnesses and protect one another. The targets sometimes attack a group member. Having a witness makes it possible to have him charged or to protect the other group member who is doing the harassing. Group members will attempt to physically intimidate a target if they can by standing very close. Swarming is a tactic which is also used, and it involves totally surrounding a target so he cannot move. Those are all tactics, so I am not going to go there. A target cannot escape by traveling. If groups know his travel plans, and there is a good chance they do, they will have a member purchase a ticket on the same flight. Groups are not concerned with the federal laws against stalking across state lines. If they cannot get on the same plane, group members will meet him at whatever U.S. airport lands at, and the same pattern of stalking and harassment is continued. There's a good chance that they will be able to get into his hotel room. Remember, Gloria Naylor, Naylor, talking about being on the plane, and the citizen informant sitting on either side of her, mimicking her, till even though they had to say that it was stupid. Yes, yeah. A common tactic used by the groups is noise campaigns. Group members will drive by the target's residence or workplace, honking their horns, squealing tires, and making whatever noise they can. Doesn't this sound like little pubescent children? They will also make noise from whatever nearby properties they have access to. Typically, they will make noise when the target goes outside. Group members will also frequently knock on the door for whatever particular reasons they can dream up. In an apartment setting, targets can expect to hear tapping on the walls in the middle of the night, taps running, meaning like water, hammering, etc., from upper and lower apartments, and possibly the apartment on both sides. They will continue to quote-unquote work on these activities for as long as they can get away with them. Group members work in shifts in apartments that they have access to. They work 24 hours a day and do not take holidays. Their job is to make noise and alert the group when he leaves. The activity can last for many years. Did you hear that, folks? Years. And then he quotes, yeah, they take shifts and the rest is more tactics. They will often occupy a nearby apartment part-time when the owner is not there and he receives some benefit. The target may notice someone leaving a nearby apartment when he leaves his, and then arrive when he arrives. In addition, he will often be accompanied in elevators by a steady stream of different individuals who go to the apartments being used by the group. In an apartment setting or in a house, they have installed listening devices, or they can maintain a close enough presence to hear sounds coming from the target's residence. It is not uncommon for a target to hear honking horns or occasionally fire engines or an ambulance sirens when he uses or flushes the toilet or makes other noise. Note, this is a common activity of the perpetrators, making a corresponding noise when someone is in the bathroom. Many gang stalking targets have reported this. It is not uncommon in an apartment setting for a target to hear someone moving from room to room, as he does, from upper to lower apartments. A target can also expect frequent disruption of electric, phone, cable, and sometimes water service. Service will be shut off to an entire block rather than just a target. More tactics, so I'm just skipping over the setups. Groups study their targets, and as a result, they are fully aware of whatever weaknesses he, I'm going to add, or she may have. If he's addicted to alcohol, drugs, gambling, sex, etc., they will know it, and they will attempt to exploit it. Calling the police to report a drunken driver is standard practice. This is part true for targets and other people who don't even know it yet. Relationships. Groups attempt to interfere with any business and personal relationships that the target has. Typically, with this interference involves character assassination from some anonymous individual and is not usually taken seriously by those who know the target. It can be effective with people who don't know the target. At work, the target will also experience character assassination. If he works in any position where he has to deal with the public, there will be a steady stream of customers who complain about him. If he's a real estate agent, he will have a steady stream of prospects who occupy his time but never make an offer. More tactics, but they are true. They want to make sure that we can't succeed. Isn't that amazing, folks? When somebody attempts to prevent someone from succeeding, they're usually highly envious and jealous. That's just my addition. Chapter 8, Let's Pretend, page 37. While extremist groups tend to cooperate with each other, leaders in the extremist movement have contempt for the groups which play games of let's pretend because they don't really achieve anything. The leaders of these groups pretend that they are larger-than-life characters with heroic backgrounds. They are looked upon with reverence by their followers. Typically, their backgrounds and alleged heroism cannot be independently verified because it allegedly involves national security. They pretend that their groups are committed to bringing about some change, but that is of secondary importance. Primarily, they are criminal groups which derive their financing from corporations through their relationships with other criminal groups. The sole beneficiaries are the leaders. It probably does involve national security of the COINTELPRO kind. It's the same mentality these people have always had. Supporters pretend that they are quote-unquote investigators. After having been duly authorized as investigators, part of their jobs is to harass targets in any way they can. They pretend that they are in charge of what goes on where they live and that they can control who lives where they live. They've been trying to do that here, folks. That's for sure, for certain. They're trying to control who works on my property. Like my neighbor threatening my workers that if they continue to work on my property, they will be part of her lawsuit. Is that the most ridiculous thing you ever did hear? The pretense continues in the tactics which they employ in order to succeed in their missions. They maintain close presence to their target so they can make an quote-unquote arrest when the order is given. It does not matter much that no such order is ever given. So you are a powerless person. You feel inferior or angry about stuff, powerless to stop it. You join this community group and suddenly you are someone. You're an investigator. Let me get that big shiny S on the front of your shirt shine up. You are a super investigator. You're going to help some fellow, this dangerous person around who is into God. Who is into God knows what, but they are a stranger to society and everything we hold dear. Now you really feel important. I know you want a hero cookie, but you are not getting it right this second. When you see the power of the informant network and you think, I am part of this, the tears roll down your face, and you know at last you have found what you're looking for. God bless snitching and spying. Just a little bit of sarcasm, folks. Okay, now you can have your hero cookie. Pretending to be police officers is a favorite. Well, maybe one day I'll share my pretending to be a police officer, folks. I don't know. I don't know if I want to share that photo, but I did dress up as a police officer once for Halloween. Some of them drive around in vehicles which look just like real undercover cars, which are used by the police. Some of the travel guides advise tourists not to stop for any vehicle which is not marked police car, especially at night. They advise people to drive slowly to a nearby police station or to a store where there are other people. Teams will typically stand around a target while he's paying for a purchase in a store or sit near him at a restaurant. They will have the demeanor of police officers, and they will talk about, quote, police matters, unquote. If a target is being harassed by other team members, they will observe the situation. They may even speak to the police who are doing the harassing. The police will indicate They don't like what is going on, but they can't do anything about it. Did you hear that, folks? Some cops do want to help, but they can't. They have been told to stand down in many cases unless something is very overtly wrong is happening. And even then, who knows?
This is Alternative Homesteading. She has a good channel. You guys should check it out. Check out her channel. You know, there's some things about gang stalking in here. Check her out. No more gang stalking, y'all.